We sold our townhome for a gross profit of $191,000 in less than 4 years. But before you get excited, it's not that simple, and there are a lot of costs associated with buying and selling a home.
And because he is not the only beneficiary of this $191,000, I will be making this video with him. So let's get started.
If you are new to this channel, my name is Navjot and I want to retire 1 million immigrants with $5 million.
And while you don't see me on the channel, I am his wife, the operations person who is behind this mission.
So if you want to join this big mission of ours, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel and we'll make sure we bring amazing videos that will make you and us a lot of money. So in today's video, we'll be talking about the 6-step sales process that we use to sell our home. Then we'll be talking about the big mistake that we made. I think we only made one mistake and we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about why did we sell our home? What was our personal reasons? What were our money related reasons? We'll talk all about that. And finally, we'll be talking about the numbers behind this $191,000 of gross profit and what are the costs involved in doing so.
We bought this home in December of 2020. It's a 3-bed, 4-bath townhome. We bought it as a pre-construction and one of the best builders, Heathwood Homes in Kitchener. And we built this beautiful 350 square feet deck that we used for 2 full seasons and hosted so many parties with our family here. This house also comes with a walkout basement that was built by the builder, and it also has a full washroom.
Now that you know a little bit about this home, let's go into the 6-step process that we followed to sell this home. The first step is evaluate, and we reached out to our realtor who then came to our home and we evaluated whether it makes sense to sell the home right now or not. The first step there was to understand your situation, and what you need to understand is the outstanding balance on the mortgage. You don't want to owe more than what you can sell for, so it's very important to do those numbers. We also do the comparable analysis. What is the recent comparables that have been sold in the area? What's the fair market value? So it's important that you do that, and the expected profit, because if you have an expected profit, only then you know how much money we would have to upgrade the home or whatever you want to do, or you want to buy an investment property. For example, for us, there was another important thing that we need to clarify the objective of why we want to sell our home. So the first one is, are we selling to upgrade? In our case, yes, that was the case. We were selling this home, taking out the equity and using that to upgrade into a bigger home. And the second thing that we need to clarify is, depending on the market, and this is where the realtor comes in, their expertise comes in, their experience comes in, their market knowledge comes in, whether in this operation of selling the home and buying another one, what thing should you do first? Should you sell first and then buy, or should you buy first and then sell? And both strategies, depending on the market, can be the right strategy. We'll talk about that when we talk about the mistake that we made. So a little bit of a hint on what's coming next.
Step number 2 is home visit. A realtor visited our home and suggested some quick improvements that can increase the value of our home. For example, have a fresh coat of paint in your house. Now, step number 3 is staging. This makes your house look so pretty and one of my favorite steps as well. The stager came into our home, assessed each and every room, all the living areas, and they suggested that, what furniture goes with what. So the next day they came with a full truck of furniture and decorative items. They made our home look so beautiful, as you can see in these pictures. And studies show that you can sell your home for 4% of higher price, and it is faster to sell, especially in a slow market.
Now that the home is looking pretty, we are ready to list, but there is a strategy that goes behind it. So we listed our home on June 12th. Yes, it's been a while that we have, we sold our home, but we listed the home on June 12th, which was a Wednesday. Now it's important to list your home on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and the reason is because we do so many buying clients. We understand that most realtors would research for the weekend. They will research the market and see what new homes have come to the market, because they want to take their clients out on a weekend. And if you are, the person, not the realtor, you also search, around this time, because you also want to, look at homes over the weekend. That's where Wednesday and Thursday is really important. The sale price that we set for this home was $799,000. The fair market value of this home was around $810,000. We'll talk about that in a bit. But a recent comparable sold anywhere between $800,000 to $810,000, and that's why we set the price at $799,000. We also did an open house. Open house is where people can actually walk in with or without a realtor. We wanted to do that over the weekend. Normally it happens over the weekend. So June 15th and June 16th was when we were doing the open house. And we were very, very aggressive with our offer date. We actually set the next day of the open house, which was a Monday, June 17th. And remember, this was a buyer's market. This was not the market where you could actually sell a home in 4-5 days. But because our marketing was extremely strong, we wanted to make an aggressive move. But while we were aggressive, we were also prepared that we might not get the offer that we need, or we might not get the terms that we need, and therefore we were prepared to wait another week before we hold offers the next week as well. And then comes the 4-day marketing plan of selling the home at a really good price, and that we call it the 4-day marketing kill. And we as Grow Media actually do it for our realtor partners, and therefore I was the one who scripted and directed the whole thing. We actually create 2 videos. One is a feature video where we talk about the features of the house, and the second one in fact is a music video that is meant to go viral, get more views, get more clicks on the listing so that it appears on top in various platforms. We'll talk about that in a bit. But day 1, June 12th, Wednesday, which is the listing day that we had, we also launched the feature video on all our social platforms. We got about 22,000 views in one day. We got 207 likes, 116 shares. Then on June 13th, which was a Thursday, the next day of listing, we launched the music video that went live as well. And that actually got even more views, even more likes, even more shares, and even more comments because it was pretty funny. You'll see that. You can actually go to the description and see that. And then June 15th and June 16th, like I said, was open house day. But on the first day of open house, our realtor, and we have a team of realtors, the team of realtors actually door knocked the entire neighborhood, and the entire neighborhood has over 400 homes, and you'll be surprised at the number of people who are living in that neighborhood on rent who would want to buy in the same neighborhood. And then June 16th is where we host people, we have host realtors, we have done so many activities in marketing, we have done so many door knocking activities. All of them are coming on a Sunday, and our realtor made sure that everyone who walked into the door got everything that is to know about the neighborhood and the house itself.
Then came June 17th, which was the offer night. By that weekend, which is just 4 days, we had 8 scheduled showings and 17 open house visits. And we got 3 offers, which sounded amazing, but we could not get the closing date that we wanted, which was end of September. So we did not accept any offer, which definitely sounds scary, but we had to get the closing date of end September because we had already bought the next house which we were moving in. Our realtor is so amazing that he called every realtor and the person who saw the house to see if someone is interested in it. Of all the people he called, by June 20th, we got 2 more offers. We negotiated and finally accepted a $825,000 conditional offer.
But we made one mistake. And the mistake we made was, this was a buyer's market, and we bought the house that we were moving in first and then sold the house. And that's a scary thing to do in a buyer's market. The reason is because if you're doing 2 activities, you always have to do the activity which is hard first. For instance, in a buyer's market, it's very difficult to sell a home at the price that you need. It's much easier to buy the next home. But we made the decision of doing it reverse because we found a home which was really amazing. We did not want to lose that because the lot was very special. We were getting a very good price, and we bought that first, knowing that it's very risky to sell later in a market like this.
However, we knew this risk, but we were prepared to hold this house and put it on rent till we get the price that we wanted to sell it for.
But this would have been very, very difficult because we would have been stretched on our budget. And while we did take the risk, in hindsight, I do feel we would have not taken that risk. And we would definitely not recommend anyone who is selling in a buyer's market to buy first and sell later. But that is a strategy that is that the realtor will help you make. You should always have a really good team. We'll talk about that as well, so that they're able to help you navigate through this strategy. But because I do this every single day, I see many more mistakes that people make while selling a home. And the first one is choosing the wrong team. If you make the wrong strategy with the wrong people, there's a very high chance that we lose money on our sale. Not doing the right comparable analysis and then losing the money is a massive loss. Also, when you're selling the home, if you sell the home for $10,000 $10,000 low, you actually lose the actual $10,000. But if you buy a home, when you're buying a home and you buy $10,000 higher, you only have to pay 20% upfront, which is not the case in selling. If you sell for $10,000 low, you actually get $10,000 less in your bank account, which is where the comparable analysis, doing the staging, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But let's just go to and do the comparable analysis for this particular home when we were selling, and you'll see that we sold for $825,000, and there was a big reason why we were able to sell for a very good price. It was the highest in the neighborhood, and the reason is, let's just look at the comparable analysis. So what I've done is I've just done the sold analysis for the last 180 days, which is when we sold our home, and it's a freehold townhouse, which is what we have. And if you look at the townhomes which are sold, this was the one which was sold 5 days ago. So this is, we are sitting in November right now. In November, a similar townhome, this is in fact a bigger townhome, sold for $785,000. The market has slowed down, obviously, that's why. This is the home that sold in May. So this was the comparable that we had, because we had listed our home just about 10 days, after this home got sold. And this was listed for this was sold for $810,000, and it was listed for about $830,000. But this was a slightly bigger home than we were owning, and that's what the benchmark was. That was our floor as well. This is the amount around $800,000 that we were not willing to go below on our sale price, because the comparables were around that. Then another house, this one, this sold in August, which was after we sold our home. This again sold for $785,000. This is around the comparables that you are seeing. This is a house that we sold $825,000. There's another house that just got sold after we sold our home. This is on the same street, in fact. It's just opposite our home. This is a slightly bigger home without a walkout basement, but that sold for $810,000. And the reason why you see all these homes selling for lower, and again, there are certain houses that sold for higher, but they are much bigger houses, 5 bathroom, 4 bedroom. Ours is a 3 bedroom townhouse. It's not a corner lot. But the reason why you see 781, 808, 808, the reason why you see our house sell for much higher than these houses was that we staged our home really well. And the $2,000 that we spent on staging gave us at least $15,000 to $20,000 more in sale price. That is money in our pocket. And that is a really amazing return on your investment of $2,000, because you're making 10x by just doing a little bit of work to your house to make it look pretty. Which is exactly the mistake that I see people making. They don't stage their homes and therefore sell for less. And the other one is listing without any marketing. And the reason why, obviously, marketing is very important. I'm very passionate about it. And there's a very technical reason why you should market your home. And the reason is that on House Sigma, on Realtor.ca, all these platforms where you list your homes, what happens is that when you are listing a home, the algorithm works in a way, and that's something that happens every time. If you let's say you search Kitchener and you see a bunch of homes, you have put some filters, and when you see a bunch of homes, you'll always see the home that has the maximum number of hits, the maximum number of clicks show up on the top, which is exactly what you saw. Let's just look at here, right? It's right here. Our home is actually right on top. And the reason is because we did so really good marketing. There were so many clicks on this particular home. There were so many clicks on the website, and the algorithm thought that this home is really in demand, and therefore it prioritized and showed us on top, and that got us more views and therefore more home visits, and that meant we closed the house at a really good price. Now, before I move on to why did we sell a home, and we see Simran in the video because there's a very big reason we decided to sell a home. The team behind this particular sale was Orko, who leads Bricks and Dreams. He's our realtor. He has a team of 12 people, but Orko is the one who is listing the home, making the strategy, because he has the most experience of not just owning his own, not just selling other people's homes, but also selling his homes. And I lead Grow Media, and I am the minds and the direction behind all the marketing that happens. And if you are someone who's selling a home, I'll be behind the marketing of selling your home. And I'm damn good at it.
Now, the most important question, why did we sell? As you can see in the picture here, we are expecting a baby soon, and that's why we needed a bigger space. Our parents also live with us. We both are the eldest siblings in the family, so most of the things happen at our house, and we needed more space. Our living area in the previous house was a little smaller for us to host, that many people. So when we were looking at houses, this was our biggest priority, that the living room should accommodate at least 15, 20 people. So that's why this house.
And then because we are having a baby, we wanted to move into a long-term home, and that meant that we move into a better school district. The district that we have moved now is a 7.5 plus rating district, and that was really important for us because we don't want to keep changing houses now. Nothing wrong with that, but we just wanted to move into a home where we can make memories. We can call it our forever home, where our child can actually grow up. Like remember that. Oh, remember I played hide and seek there. So it's just something which was very important to us as a family, and that was another reason why we sold our home. So it's not like a lot of people were saying, oh, why did you sell it? You only lived in it for 1 year. We obviously got it pre-construction 4 years ago. We lived in it for 1 year, and it's really hard to move. It requires a lot of cost. We'll talk about that, but these are all the reasons why. It's not about equity, it's not about money. It was just a very personal reason of why we wanted a bigger home.
Now we'll talk about numbers, which I have no business of doing, so I'll leave it to you, Navjot.
All right, so let's talk about numbers. Our purchase price for this particular home, the townhouse that we sold, we purchased it in December of 2020, like I told you, for $634,500 to be exact, and our sale price is $825,000. If you do the difference, it actually seems like we made $190,500 of profit, but that's not it. We actually bought some upgrades from the builder. That has to be included in the cost of buying. That was $21,000. Now, obviously, this was included in the mortgage, and therefore, I'll do the numbers in a bit, but we don't have to pay $21,000 upfront. It is included in the mortgage. We'll talk about that in a bit, but you have to pay closing costs upfront, which was about $10,000. It includes your lawyer fee, your land transfer taxes, some of the other things, title insurance and stuff like that. Then we also created a deck, not a presentation deck, but an actual deck that you saw, 350 square feet. We spent about $20,000 on that. That is also money from our pocket. And those are the $30,000 that we spent. There were other miscellaneous. We actually did, blinds that we actually left in that house. There were some paint work that was done. So another $5,000 spent on a couple of things that we did. Which we could actually not take in our next home. And overall, we spent almost about $35,000 of actual cash, and then $21,000 were included in our mortgage, and that actually brings our net cost of purchase to $690,000, and of which we made $131,000 of down payment. So our purchase price became $634 plus 21. We made a 20% down payment on this, so we made almost $131,000 of down payment. Plus, we had to put $35,000 from our pocket to make the upgrades. That, in fact, improved the value of the house, but still, we could also enjoy those upgrades. So total out of pocket, upfront, and apart from the interest costs and everything, I'm not including that here. I'll give you the reason for that as well. But total out of pocket was $131,000 of down payment plus the $35,000 of hard costs that we spent to improve the home. So a total of $166,000 went out of our pocket in our first year of purchase. Now that was when we bought the townhouse. What are the costs that you have to incur when you're selling the townhouse? The first one is staging. Like I said, $2,000 is what we spent. This is all inclusive of tax. We also had to pay legal fees because when you sell a home, you have to involve a lawyer. There's money transfer that is involved. So $1,500 is what we spend on our legal fees. Then we also have to pay realtor fee because when we're selling a home, we are doing some amazing marketing, staging, everything. In Kitchener, that cost is 4% plus HSC, 2% for the buying realtor, the buyer who's buying, their realtor, and 2% for our realtor who's selling. And that comes to about $37,290. This includes HST. And then because we had an existing mortgage and we were, and I'll talk about the bridging loan and everything in a later video, but we had to pay a mortgage penalty because we were breaking our existing mortgage on this home and we were moving our home to a new mortgage lender, and that was $6,000 of penalty that we had to pay. And if you include all this, the net sale price after all these deductions was $778,210. The outstanding mortgage on this house, we made a couple of payments as well additional. So we started with a $522,000 of the mortgage balance. But in 1 year of us living in the house and paying down the mortgage, our outstanding balance was $516,000. And if you do the net proceeds, so the amount of net sales price that we had, which is $778 minus $516,000, comes to $262,000 that we got in our bank account. And if you do the maths, this is the amount of money, $166,000 that we spent. The net proceeds that we got in 4 years was $262,000. Now, I keep saying that we lived in this house for 1 year and we had this house for 4 years. That's because we bought it pre-construction, right? So just remember, we bought it pre-construction and we lived in it for 1 year because we only got it in 2023. But all this costs, we actually put it into our home for 4 years. So December 2020 is when we bought the home. September 2024 is when we sold the home, and therefore the return on capital, and that's how you calculate the return on any home that you sell. The return on capital year on year was 12.78%. So we made a return of almost 13%, but honestly, this return doesn't make any sense to calculate. And the reason why you buy your home, and this is actually the same reason why I don't calculate interest costs, because it's my personal decision, it's my personal preference to be able to retire rent free and mortgage free. And if I am buying a home, I am buying a home knowing that my expenses will be a lot higher, knowing that I'll have to make a lot more money to sustain those expenses. And I want to do that as a personal preference because I want to retire mortgage free and rent free. I can be living on rent and not paying the interest and only paying the rent and not incurring any other additional costs of maintenance, but that's not my personal preference, which is exactly what I tell everyone who is buying a home. Don't go with numbers, don't go with returns, don't go. If you're buying your primary home, buy because you want to make memories in that home, buy because you want to retire mortgage and rent free, buy because you are looking for a school district where your kids can go and you don't have to worry about your landlord selling the home and you moving that school district. Those are all the reasons you buy. This is just a byproduct.
That's all we have for today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please click on the like button and subscribe to the channel. मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए बाय बाय।